On today's IRS tax update, if you're still waiting on your tax refund and you may have been one of those who received a 60-day notice, there's a new step you can take to potentially identify the reason for your delay. Also, if you're one of those who had their tax refunds issued that was then sent back to the IRS, we're going to take a look at new developments. We're also checking on the latest with those tax delays, including the next batch of tax refunds scheduled for release this week, and with the IRS refusing to provide reasons on why they destroyed 30 million unprocessed tax returns, a new push to finally get answers, so we'll recap the latest. Starting off with those tax refunds, with the next batch of direct deposit tax refunds scheduled for release on August 23rd, while the next batch of paper checks will be printed and mailed out on August 25th. Do note, Where's My Refund does not always display the most accurate information, so make sure to check your tax transcripts to confirm if you're part of this latest refund batch. As a reminder, direct deposits usually reach taxpayers' bank accounts the day of, but do allow 3 business days before initiating a payment trace, while paper checks usually will arrive within 7 days of the payment date. However, those receiving paper checks must wait 30 days before initiating a payment trace with the IRS. Meanwhile, good news on the unprocessed tax return backlog, as we saw another drop of e-file returns remaining for the second consecutive week. The over backlog of unprocessed tax returns is now at 1.52 million remaining, and when that is broken down, 1.4 million are e-file and those requiring special processing, while paper returns are now down to 121,000 and continuing to drop by the week. Now, the IRS did not release any new numbers with their latest update on amended returns, so that number is still at 1.14 million remaining. However, we did hear from one of our viewers this week who provided this screen capture to confirm their amended return was received by the IRS on March 4th. It was adjusted on July 28th, and finally completed last week on August 18th. So all in all, the process has taken them 5.5 months. With that refund most likely coming in the next several weeks, it should take them about 6 months. So all in all, pretty consistent with what we've been reporting, that the amended process is taking between 5 to 7 months to complete. Now, a number of our viewers still experiencing delays have indicated they have received either the 60-day notice or even the CP05 notice, both seen here in the mail, in some cases receiving it multiple times, indicating the IRS needs additional time to process their tax returns. As we previously reported, a significant number of those receiving these notices are impacted by the fact the IRS has yet to process their employer's wage information. And as a reminder, the IRS must match what you're reporting on your tax return for wages versus what your employer is reporting. Now, we have one new step for those impacted by this to try to identify if this is in fact the cause of the problem and where it is happening. Now, when it comes to employer's wage information, the employer actually must send the information come tax time to the Social Security Administration, who then in turn sends it over to the IRS. And during this process is where we start seeing delays, especially for those getting those 60-day notices. So the first thing you want to do, even before going to the IRS, to see is if the SSA, Social Security Administration, has your wage information on file. You will first want to go to the Social Security website at ssa.gov and click Sign In on the top right of the screen as seen here. From there, you will want to log into your SSA account or create a new one if you've not done so already. That process should just take a few minutes. Once you log into your account, you will be directed to your account homepage like seen here, and you will want to click on the Review Full Earnings now as you see here at the bottom. Now, if the SSA has processed your wages, you will see your total earnings for the year here, which then eliminates the SSA not having processed the wage information or your employer not having submitted it. At that point, that really appears to be that an IRS processing issue is the cause of the delay with your return processing and refund. You will want to reach the IRS to confirm if they've processed your wage information, and if not, inquire about submitting a copy of your W-2 and pay stub. Now, this is asked by the IRS for some impacted by this, and also is requested if a CP05A letter is sent out. So this basically is you trying to get ahead of the situation and get that documentation submitted to them beforehand, and eliminating the need for even longer delays with the processing of your tax return and issuing of tax refund. Now, what happens if you do not have any wage information listed? Then there's one of several possibilities. The SSA has not processed your employer's wage information, or the employer never submitted wage information, which actually does happen, or the employer had accidentally inputted the wrong Social Security number for you into their payroll system, which is also very common. At that point, you will want to confirm with your employer's payroll department that they do have the correct information for you on file, also that all wage information was in fact sent. If you've confirmed all of this, then you will want to notify the IRS of the current situation and see about being able to submit the information yourself, such as a copy of a W-2 and year-end pay stubs, so that processing of your tax return can continue. Now, as we've been covering previously, we're continuing to get reports from taxpayers who e-filed their taxes using companies such as TurboTax and TaxSlayer, who are having their refunds released by the IRS only to see them being returned back to the IRS by either their banks or TPG, the tax processing company, which is used by TurboTax and TaxSlayer. This problem has been ongoing for about a month now and continues to impact many, including several of our viewers. Now, we have narrowed it down to those e-filers using companies such as TurboTax and TaxSlayer, but also taxpayers who are choosing to have their refund direct deposits transferred into these non-traditional banks like Green Dot, NetSpend, and Chime, but also who are having expected larger than average refunds, which is basically trigger warnings as a result. Now, typically refunds sent back to the IRS are issued as a paper check within 4 weeks of the IRS receiving them back. However, because of an influx of improper tax credits being claimed, some of these returned refunds are being sent back to the IRS to be reviewed further by the Return Integrity Verification Operations Unit. A return sent to this department is going to be examined very closely, and they may be requesting additional documentation from the impacted taxpayer, and this could on average take 4 additional months, if not longer, to resolve. This has become a big enough problem that the IRS has actually addressed the issue in their latest update, confirming banks are reporting suspicious activity when it comes to refunds, and that these resolutions for these issues, among others, may take over 4 months to resolve, so it really confirms what we've been reporting over the last several weeks on the issue. Some of you may have remembered last year when we reported how it was discovered the IRS destroyed 30 million unprocessed tax returns. While there was outrage at the time, coverage and discussion of the topics has seemed to pretty much stopped among the news outlets. Congress did inquire to the IRS and demanded answers. However, the IRS had responded back to them refusing to cooperate, claiming they would not release any documents related to the decision to destroy those tax returns because it could pose a significant risk to the agency. However, new push by the House Ways and Means Committee to get answers on what exactly happened and the continued refusal to cooperate by now making a formal request to the new IRS commissioner. Currently, no responses, if any, have been made public, but the discussion has been with the new commissioner in place looking to make changes from within, there may finally be answers that many have been waiting on in regards to the destruction of those 30 million unprocessed tax returns. Also, a special thanks to all our viewers, especially those who donate to the channel by clicking on the Super Thanks button below. Your contributions help to continue this channel to provide content throughout the year, even after tax season. And with all the long delays, including the million unprocessed tax returns still remaining, plus additional amended returns, there is still more to talk about in the upcoming months. Let us know in the comments section below about your ongoing tax refund issue or tax issue overall. Also, if you continue to plan to use the major tax filing companies like TurboTax and TaxSlayer next year, even despite the problems, or if you have confidence in trying the new IRS free e-filing platform when it is finally unveiled. In the meantime, we'll keep monitoring the situation for further developments, so make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future updates on this channel, and thanks for watching.